It's finally happened. I can't believe it. I guess that's just how the human brain works. But now when I do sit down to watch professional wrestling, I don't expect fans, I don't expect noise, but I do expect really awkward silences, but it's not even awkward anymore because it's just become the norm. What the hell is going on? But my name is Simon Miller. Thank you very much for joining me for yet another episode of Ups and Downs, where we're about to go through the latest Monday Night Raw and decide, was this any good or was it a pile of steaming crap? And you know how we do it, by giving the good bits an up and by giving the bad bits a down. Let's up those downs. Hell is that? Alright, so look, I get what we're doing, but I'm also getting a little bit worried about this trend that WWE seems to be settling into. I mean, I say worried. I'm not worried. I'm not up at night going, oh, I can't sleep because WWE... I mean, anything like that. It's just something I picked up on. Basically, Drew McIntyre was out to talk about the WWE title as he should, and he's still really proud to be wearing it around his waist, but then also addressed everything that had happened last week with Seth Rollins and called people a bunch of liars. Because these people had said when you get to the top it's really lonely, but it's not. It couldn't be more crowded because you got a target on your back. Thankfully, Drew also said it's questionable why Seth deserves an opportunity to begin with, given that he lost at WrestleMania, but then he changed his tune instantly and gone, however, Mr. Rollins is one of the most decorated superstars we have, so in order for me to prove myself as a great champion, I need to beat people like him, and therefore, at Money in the Bank, I'm gonna whoop his ass. Now this is fine, it really is, and I want to see Drew versus Seth. I'm not gonna pretend otherwise, but it is yet another feud within World Wrestling Entertainment where it's just one guy going, I'd like a fight please, and another person goes, oh, I will accept your challenge, thank you very much, or in this case, oh, I punched you in the face, I'm annoyed you punched me in the face, let's have a fight. And it works too, and in fact, if you like professional wrestling to be as realistic as possible, this is probably how it would go down. However, I like a little bit of story inserted into my sports entertainment, and I don't really think that we're getting it. Like, take Goldberg versus Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. The reason I like the latter more is because Drew won the Royal Rumble and he had to conquer the Beast and he had all this untapped potential. Whereas, yeah, Roman versus Goldberg was, you want to fight? Yeah, I'll have a fight. Okay, cool. I just like these little extra bits. I just do. Maybe I'm right, or maybe I'm just a bald asshole. But before long, Drew was being interrupted by Zelina Vega and her 3 goons, and then Andrade tried to sneak attack McIntyre, and he failed miserably. It was like me in geography class. Vega was then encouraging Austin Theory and Angel Garza to get down there and try and even the odds, but they just went, no, we're not going to do that, and that made me chuckle because it was smart. Why would you want to have your head kicked off? McIntyre also had a cool line where he looked right into the camera and he said, parents, put your kids to bed early because I'm going to slaughter Garza later on. And really, look, Drew keeps coming across like a strong, smart babyface, and sometimes WWE doesn't do that, so I appreciate it muchly. Also, I looked up the word slaughter because I'm an asshole, and the definition is kill for food. Now, usually it's kill an animal for food, but humans are basically animals when you break it right down. So Drew McIntyre has told us in tonight's main event, he is going to kill Angel Garza and eat him. So there you go. Hopefully the parents did definitely put their kids to bed, but still, all of this is getting it up. Speaking of the pay-per-view, we also had a qualifying match for Money on the Roof between Aleister Black and Austin Theory with Zelina Vega on commentary, and fair play to her. She has made the most of this new opportunity that has been presented at her feet, and all of this is getting it up. It was just a good fight, really. At one point, Zelina did leave the commentary booth to go and say, oh, Aleister Black, you're a dastardly fool, even though in real life they're married. So like, I know too much. And there was a really badass bit where, like, Aleister Black had Austin Theory in like a triangle choke, and he just deadlift powerbombed him. I like a good deadlift powerbomb. You know the deal, though. Hopefully Aleister Black is going to win Money on the Roof / Money in the Bank, and he's done that one step closer because he beat Austin Theory after smacking him in the face with the black mat. Baron Saxton then chatted to Aleister about the match after this, and it was really strange. Because Aleister Black, like, well, it's going to happen in WWHQ, so I guess I'm going to have to cover up these tattoos because that's like a corporate place. And also that each of the floors that they go to will be a personal hell for his opponents. Now, one, Aleister, you're not going there to work. You're not going to be on a computer sending emails to Vince McMahon, so you don't have to worry about your tattoos. Also, don't go to every single individual floor. Just get the lift and go to the roof. That's where the prize is. Jokes aside, I can't wait for this. Just please be really dumb and really entertaining. It's all I need in my life. We then had a squash match between Shayna Baszler and Indy Hartwell, and I am really, really confused. Like, we had a little chat with Shayna beforehand, and she was all like, I don't care that I broke Sega Loga's arm. I didn't break any rules, and in fact, if I want to walk around just breaking everybody's arms, that's what I'm going to do. And then she walked to the ring, and have a guess what she did? That's right, she broke this person's arm. And do you know what the ref did? As soon as she'd done it, he stopped the match, and I want to ask why. Like, we have seen so many crazy things happen to wrestlers over the years, and the match continues to go on. But here, the referee is so outraged that he saw somebody stamp on somebody's arm, he decides this can't possibly go on. I mean, why can't Shayna Baszler just go in there and pin the woman or make a tap out? It makes the referee look really dumb as opposed to making Shayna Baszler look like a killer, although to be fair, she still does, because she's got that killer face. However, let's make sure we add it to the rule book. So now, in professional wrestling, you can win via pinfall, you can win by a submission, or you can win by stamping on your opponent's arm really, really hard and scaring the official. There we go. We know, down. Shayna also destroyed Indy afterwards, and she wasn't dead before. She's definitely dead now. A little bit too much. Let's rewind that. She just got mauled, because Shayna Baszler is a mauler. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander then basically won their own squash match against Shane Thorne and Brandon Vick. And I sat here the whole time scratching my head, and the only thing I can come up with is that Vince McMahon has decided he will book Cedric Alexander and Ricochet by having a bunch of manatees in a tank, and then he releases a load of balls into said tank, and whichever ball the manatees go up to, he will look at the ball, and if it says, this week, these two win in a squash match, he goes, writers, make it happen. Why even 50-50 booking this? They're just all over the place, like some kind of fish out of water. I do love it though, because I do love this tag team, especially their new finisher, where Ricochet hits the recall, and then Cedric Alexander is there to hit the lumbar check, and that's what they did here, and they did indeed get the win. They get enough. Interview with the Kabuki Warriors after this, and you already know they were really entertaining. They were just swanning around, singing their own theme tune, and when Charlie Caruso said to them, hey, Kairi Sane, are you ready for your rematch with Nia Jax later? They were very confident, but they really shouldn't have been. I mean, sheesh, we will talk about it. We also saw Lana and Bobby Lashley in the Performance Center gym, with Bobby Lashley telling us he was warming up to flip a tire. Lana then just scooted into the picture and said, you're not warm, Bobby, you're really hot. And I was like, whoa, that's disgusting. But this is the start of a very long story throughout the night. Also, in kayfabe, because Bobby Lashley started on screen and Lana was off screen, and then he invited his wife into picture, they must have had that chat before they hit the record button. So Bob was like, hey, you stand over there. I'll be here going, oh, tie, and then you bring in, it will be really good. Wasn't. And it was then Kairi versus Nia too, and my only question is, did we need this? Did we not make Kairi Sane suffer enough last week when she got absolutely killed? Apparently not, because here, she got absolutely killed again. I mean, she got a little bit more offense in, but I like Kairi Sane, and I just feel like her single stardom is being run into the ground. Down. She also did take this horrible bump into the bottom turnbuckle pad where Nia Jax just chucked her, and of course the internet is now going crazy about it, but I don't know the details behind it. Maybe it was a mistake, maybe Kairi Sane went, hey, just tuck me to the bottom turnbuckle pad. Until I know all the details, I ain't gonna sit here and make a bunch of noise. When we do that and then we get it wrong, we look like fools, and it's happened before. You know what I'm talking about. Nia did win again though after the Samoan drop, and if you're wondering where was Asuka, well clearly she had been told don't go to ringside, and therefore you can't interfere, and then Nia Jax will 100% win. I really don't understand what the future for any of these people are. I guess I'll have to watch and find out. Seth Rollins was then sat in two chairs. Maybe it was just one big chair that was meant to look like a throne, but I saw it as two chairs, so here was old two-chair Seth sitting in two chairs. He pointed out that his beef with Drew isn't personal, and the reason he needs to become WWE champion again is that Raw needs a leader, and he has leaded before, whereas Mr. McIntyre has never leaded, and therefore Seth Rollins should be the leader. You see, it's just simple maths. He's going to be the light in the darkness, which would be really annoying if you were trying to sleep. And look, again, if there was just an extra edge to this program, I'd be all for it, instead of, well, I have a fight because some people need to have a fight at pay-per-view. So I just wanted a bit more meat on the bones. Think about it like that. I wanted more seeds on the plant, and I wanted more meat on the bones. All of these sound like sexual references. WWE then aired a video of the Viking Raiders driving around in a car doing carpool karaoke. And this was so out of nowhere, I touched my own ass thinking that my bum must have sat on the remote control and changed the channel. I mean, they had their Viking headgear on, but they were being really playful and they were having really fun. It was a little bit like they had been frozen in time and now somebody had unfrozen them and they were just enjoying all the magic of the year 2020. I tell you what though, I think it may work. This was far more fun than their usual, we are Vikings and gonna pillage your town and murder your children, which by the way, is what Vikings used to do. It's fun when people have fun because then you have fun. Let's face it, we haven't done much with the Viking Raiders up to this point. We'll see how it develops, but I am intrigued. Apollo Crews then beat MVP in a Money on the Roof qualifying match. You damn right. You go get him, Apollo. Finally give it up. It was clean as a whistle too, and the final sequence saw Apollo Crews hit like an enziguri, and then there was a standing moonsault, and there was a press slam, and there was a standing sunset flip, and then there was a sit-out powerbomb. He did every single move possible. It's a bit like going on a date and you sit down and you go, hey, I'm John. I earned £1 million last year and I've got 10 cars and I've got a massive penis and I think you should be with me right now. Like it's too much too soon. You're like, you've got to calm down. You have to eke these things out over each date and try and win them over. But we had booked Apollo Crews so badly, I think he just needed to throw out all of his tools and all of his arsenal so we could sit there and go, oh yeah, Apollo is an amazing athlete. I thought this worked very well. Give it an up. I did that already. Well, I'm just so excited. It was also good because the commentators put this over like it was a massive deal. Like, oh my gosh, Apollo Crews just beat MVP. So let's not do what we always do with Crews and just throw him into the abyss. You've started this push now, so finish it. Like Mortal Kombat. We then got a payoff for the feud that began in 1876. I mean, better late than never. It did make me miss 1876, but let's not worry about it. Because after Ruby Riott had cut a promo on Liv Morgan, these two people got in the ring and they finally had their fight. Oodalally. In her speech beforehand, Ruby Riott did say the reason she had to have double surgery was because she was carrying Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan on her back. And that made me go, why is everyone being so literal on Raw these days? And when they did get in there, I tell you, Ruby was getting her licks in and looking like she was going to win, but she didn't because Liv Morgan got the win. Like Ruby Riott hit the ropes, but then Morgan surprised her, hit her with this cool looking flapjack move and scored the 1-2-3. And I will say this, I think Liv Morgan may be the most underrated wrestler on the WWE roster at the moment. You can really do something with her. She can go, she's got an interesting character. I want to see what's next. Don't flub it up. You just got to give her the right platform, but I really enjoyed this. I truly did. And also, don't forget about Ruby Riott either. She played her part. Give it up. We were back to the gym, and then Lashley flipped the tire. And while he was really happy with himself, he then decided he would flip a bigger tire. What? These two were falling out this week, and now they're in a gym flipping tires. Is that meant to be a euphemism? Am I missing something here? This gets weirder too. Don't get me wrong, this gets really strange. It was then Rey Mysterio versus Murphy, not Buddy. And look, it was a qualifying match for Money on the Roof. It had Rey Mysterio in it. It had Murphy in it. I don't understand why he's not friends with Seth Rollins anymore. He has him on his Titantron, but they don't really seem to communicate anymore. But it was just two good wrestlers having a good wrestling match. We give them the round of applause, and of course, we give it up. Mysterio is also ridiculous given that he's in his mid-40s and he's still moving around like he has no problems whatsoever. And it was just the kind of thing that you'd expect. Murphy was getting his offense in, Rey was flying around, and he eventually won after the 619 and the Frog Splash, which means yes, Rey will be going to WWE HQ to compete for the briefcase. I have no problems with this. It made me feel good in my tummy, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. Had an interview with Zelina Vega afterwards where she mostly just put over her team, and then it was time for Charlotte Flair, the NXT champion, against Kaden Carter. And somewhat incredibly, not only did Kaden Carter get the win, but the championship belt was on the line, so your brand new NXT Women's Champion is Kaden Carter. I mean, that is a bigger shock than when Jinder Mahal won the WWE title, but it's also a massive lie. Of course she didn't win the championship. You think Charlotte Flair lost on a random episode of Raw? What is wrong with you? I mean, it wasn't anything much, but it did a good job to establish that Charlotte is the NXT champion and it's a belt that's worth fighting for, and she tapped this person out after the figure eight. I mean, like I said, it was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it. I'm not offended. Give it up. Charlotte was a right dick throughout, including slapping Kaden right in the face and mocking her when all was said and done. And yet some people still try to tell me that Charlotte Flair is meant to be a good guy. That's like me pushing an old woman to the ground and then going, well, I thought she wanted to smell the floor. Actions speak louder than words. And we were then back to the gym with Bobby Lashley and Lana, and Bob pretended he couldn't flip the tire, but then he flipped the tire. He went on to say that because he was able to flip tires, he would also be able to beat the roster. So I presume that Bobby Lashley is about to go through the Raw roster and just flip him. I have no words. It was what? Let me just think. I'll figure it out. The world's greatest jobber was back next, and when I say that, I mean it as a compliment. I don't want to call him the world's biggest loser, because that sounds terrible, but it was Tozawa taking on Andrade, and much like Rey Mysterio and Buddy Murphy, they just lit it up, and a huge reason for that is Tozawa, hence why I call him the world's greatest jobber. Let's get it up. And it was just an exciting match, really, too. It ended after Andrade hit the hammerlock DDT, and the most interesting part was as soon as Tozawa's head went into the floor, I went, oh yeah, Andrade is the US champion. I'd completely forgotten, mainly because we never get any US Championship feuds. We went straight into our next match after this, which was Santana Garrett versus Bianca Belair, and it was all kicked off by the Street Profits coming out and dancing on the announce table and also doing commentary, and it's here where I imagine all of this will divide people down the middle. This is me using a saw on some kind of wood, I believe. Because you either thought their commentary was hilarious because they went all in, or I can also understand why you found them really annoying. They were basically shouting for around about 5 minutes. But I will say they kind of went full circle for me. At first I was like, all right, dude, you got to calm down. But they were so dedicated to the cause, I couldn't help but chuckle by the end. Bianca Belair won after the KOD. I like these three, and I like Zelina Vega's team. I like all these new posses, like, coming in WWE. We should do more. That's right, give me 4,000 of them. Give it up. It was then time for our main event, and look, yes, it was exactly the same as last week, although this time Angel Garza was taking the spot of Andrade. But as I've already mentioned, this just allows Drew McIntyre to run wild. He beats up all these people. He looks like a badass person. He's meant to be the WWE champ. He's meant to be one of the top baby faces in the company. I can't get mad at it. Even if you only put Zelina Vega's group together so that Drew could kick their bum, I'm all right with it. Give it up. That's the other key here too. McIntyre just seems like he's having the time of his life. As I always say, that translates out the screen, it smacks me in the face, in my bald head, and I start having the time of my life too. I mean, that's a bit strong, but I'm certainly enjoying myself. He obviously won after the Claymore kick on Angel Garza, and then he Claymore kicked Austin Theory as well. Then he chased Andrade away like he was some kind of rogue cat. And when he was doing that, he even baseball slid up the aisleway, because he's just having a good time. He's just having some fun. He's Drew McIntyre, and he's partying all the day long. It's almost like he was playing Call of Duty when he did that, and I tell you, this also didn't last very long, so it left me wanting more. McIntyre also did this crazy dive over the top rope, which was accompanied by a somersault. That guy's like 6'6", and he's not like a small bloke, so my word, does he have the athleticism. And I just thought it was a nice end to Raw. I get it, if you like Andrade, Austin Theory, Angel Garza, you're like, why are they doing this? That's just their role right now. But when your role is to make the champion better, well, it's far better than what used to happen. You crown a new champion, then they had to fight Kane. I love Kane. Kane was the best. You fight Kane, and Kane beats you, and then somehow you win by fluke and you move on. That doesn't establish nothing. This establishes Drew as an absolute warrior. Give it up. That was that. That was the end of Raw, and I actually thought it was pretty good. But there was nothing that made you go, whoa, because it was so incredible, but it was a very easy to watch show. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Said that a few times during this episode. There ain't nothing wrong with that. True. There's my arrow. Give it up. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, and go to WhatCulture.com. You can read articles. Even if you get mad at them, at least you're engaging. That's what matters. You can follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. Stay up to date with the news, and you can watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for joining me. And it seems like wrestling companies are gonna steam ahead anyway, which means ups and downs will do the same. I will see you soon.